Hello and welcome to Merlins Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, new LEGO Ideas entries, and general industry news from time to time as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. Let's get started right away, as always in alphabetical order of the brands. We will start with BlueBrixx, and here we have new announcements for the next wave of Star Trek models. We are now at mid-size. Last week, if you recall, we talked about the new micro or mini models that they will have in the next wave. Now we're at mid-size, and I guess a lot of folks are desperately waiting for the announcements of the display size models. Maybe that's going to happen next week. By the way, while talking about next week, a big apology from my side. I'm a bit late this week again. That was due to the holidays. I was on the road visiting family, etc., etc. So we are a bit late, but we are still in 2022. So, long story short, I do imagine that over at BlueBrixx they are also it's vacation time. So I'm not sure if we will see the display model announcements next week already. Maybe it's going to be the week after, but I assume it's going to be soon. Anyhow, we have now 3 announcements for midsize, and the first one is the USS Defiant, the NX74205. The midsize model at BlueBrixx is then going to be the 105440. This thing has 561 pieces, and yes, that means the Defiant is now also in the pristine group of ships where BlueBrixx is actually offering all 3 sizes. So we have the display size one that was in the last wave. We had the micro model as well, and now we have mid-size. And I must say, very well done, BlueBrixx. I think this thing has great proportions. As always, I've talked about this before with Star Trek. Obviously, Star Trek ships are not easy to build, and depending on the size, there are models that work very well in small sizes and not so well in bigger sizes, and the other way around. And I think the Defiant is well done in all 3 sizes. That is what I can now conclude. And yeah, I like it. I'm not 1% sure if I'm a big fan of the, let's say, front of the warp modules on the side. It looks a bit like too plain, too simple for my taste. But I think, yeah, there was no other way to do this. And it looks great. The prints are amazing. That's exactly what you will need, right? You have Starfleet logo, you have USS Defiant. The red stripes are nice. I personally could live without them. But yeah, BlueBrixx, of course, they're using Xingbao pieces. Not the best piece quality on the market, but of course Xingbao can print. So obviously BlueBrixx will use that card as much as they can. What I really like, that they managed to get even the shape here, or the angle, I should rather say, of the warp modules right, even in this size. That is well done by the designer or the design team. And yeah, all in all, I really like it. It is a bit small, of course, but it's a Defiant. She's not so big to begin with. She's only 170 meters, and because if you look here at the comparison of model and stand, right, the stand is quite big. Obviously, if you look at the traditional Stars fleet ships, like, I don't know, Enterprises, etc., they are a lot longer, if you will, compared to the amount of pieces, much thinner, much longer. Obviously, so they overreach, or are in let's say, they are a lot bigger than the stand is, right? While the Defiant is actually not much bigger than the stand. So the stand looks, yeah, almost as big as the ship. And I think that is not perfect, but that's the way it is, right? They have a fixed set of pieces that they want to put in the mid-size, and they have the stand already defined, so I guess it's just the way it is. But the ship itself is a beauty, I must say. Really looking forward to this one. What I'm personally not so much looking forward to is another cloaked model. I think they did this already with the cruiser, and now they're doing it with the Birds of Prey. A cloaked version means entirely built out of trans clear. We are talking about the 105439, 565 pieces. This was called by BlueBrixx when they did this for the cruiser. I think it was the D7, right? I think they called it in one of their own videos a meme. And it seems, however, the meme was quite successful. That's just my guess, because they're doing it again. And now we have the Bird of Prey entirely built out of trans clear pieces, except the rigid hose here. At least for me, that looks like a white one. And I'm also not so sure if you look at the battery, the guns on the tip of the wings. I'm not 100% sure if that is all trans clear, like the, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's not exactly clear. However, no, that's entirely wrong. If I look at this picture, it is all trans clear. Okay, so with exception of the rigid hose around the bridge, my apologies. It's all trans clear pieces. Yeah, I mean, a lot of folks told me after my news show back in the day around the cruiser, where I told a lot of folks, hey, this is a meme, this is ugly, nobody wants that. A lot of folks told me, no, I like it, I've built it actually, and it's great. So there are obviously fans out there who love this stuff. Personally, I must say, I mean, I've had a lot of Xingbao trans clear pieces in my hands in the last couple of months, and I must say, Xingbao trans clear is not really trans. It's more like milky clear with a lot of scratches. So I'm not sure how good this thing looks, but there are obviously fans out there who love this cloaked ship kind of style. Anyhow, what I'm looking personally a lot more forward to is the NCC 1701, the traditional Enterprise from the original series, the 105438 from BlueBrixx, 525 pieces. And I must say that the display model was together with the Galaxy class Enterprise. That was like the first wave, the first display size ships that BlueBrixx shipped back in the day. And I was not a big fan of the design. In general, I must say, I do admit I'm not a big fan of the original series. I mean, I watched it as a kid, but I don't know. I'm a next generation guy. But anyhow, this one I do like, I must say. I'm not... Especially the warp drives, at least in this size, it's not so much in your face. Like if you looked at the display size model, these warp, because they are so long, ridiculously long. And I think that, I don't know, I had my problems with that proportion, with these proportions. But this one here, I do like a lot more. And I'm actually seriously considering buying this one and building it. All in all, I must say, design well done. I really like the I think I've not seen that before with BlueBrixx, the entire way how they are doing the deflector shield. If you look down here, I mean, this is like an amazing color, looks like a bronze color. That is definitely something I want to take a look at. But in general, I really like the design. A lot of prints included as well. Again, NCC 1701 is not just here in the front, but also on the warp gondolas. Yeah, and it looks amazing. My apologies, I think I'm getting a cold. But anyhow, 525 pieces, as always with BlueBrixx announcements, but I've talked about this many times in the past. They never put out prices. Prices come with availability. Anyhow, let's move on to the steam locomotive, the BR78, actually known by a lot of folks as T18. We are talking about the 104939. As you can see by the number, announcement was quite a while ago, but now it is available for that locomotive, which is a German-Prussian classic. 1026 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for 45 euros. As always, over here in Germany, that includes tax. To my knowledge, BlueBrixx is shipping within Europe. I'm not sure if they are shipping overseas, by the way. That's maybe something I should go check out. But anyhow, this is the BR78. So BR in Germany is Baureihe. So that's basically how it's that's just how they called the steam locomotives. I think they do this to this day. However, it was originally developed, or it was actually the last locomotive that was developed for the Prussian railway company, I guess it was called. And it was built between 1912 and 1927, and it was in operation until the early 70s, I think, in Eastern Germany until 72, in Western Germany until 74. Overall, they built 544 of these bad boys. 8 went to Turkey and Turkey. I think they changed the name, didn't they, in English? I forgot. Anyhow, in Germany it stayed the same. My apologies. And 536 for Germany. And that's about that. Yeah, this is from BlueBrixx. Now let's come to the model. This is, as far as I can tell, an 8-stud model. So that thing is quite a behemoth. I mean, it has more than 1,000 pieces. So for the 8-stud trained fans out there, a traditional German-Prussian locomotive, I think this is good news that this thing is finally available. for me personally, my biggest highlight of the week is the Sandmark Square from BlueBrixx out of their architecture series, the 105-325. This thing has 3,479 pieces. That's quite a lot, actually. BlueBrixx is asking for 150 euros over here, and it's 4.3 cents a piece. And I'm a huge fan of the BlueBrixx architecture series. Big fan of the designer. This is designed by Anton, young designer over here from Germany, working for BlueBrixx here. And that designer has actually, if you just look at the portfolio, from that designer, we will see the Taipei 101, the Ulm Church, really looking forward to this one. Also, we have a couple of, let's say, industrial architecture sets. We have a steel plant, a shipyard, a coal mine, the government quarter over here in Germany. I guess not so many people are looking forward to this one, but also a lot of, let's say, traditional architecture, old architecture stuff, especially the Acropolis looks amazing. St. Peter's Basilica, really looking forward to this one. I have built the Forum Romanum, one of the best sets, if in my opinion, in 2022. It was just amazing. I'm so looking forward to the Rockefeller Center. So I have built the Willis Tower. Okay, I mean, that is a 1:500 Willis Tower. So it was like a 1.5 meters height, and it was enormous. Not sure if I want to build that one again, but Rockefeller Center is a bit tinier. It is also scale 1:500, I think. Anyhow, I just want to say, big fan of BlueBrixx architecture series, and now finally we have one additional set. Due to the holidays, etc., I had a bit of a delay, but I definitely want to build it somewhere in January. I haven't ordered it yet. I actually have to do that before it is gone, but I'm really looking forward to this. Speaking of architecture, now we have a couple of old school availabilities. The Manhattan Unit 10 from the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve piece, that's what it's called, is back in stock again, and that is the 100-265. So that's a real old set from BlueBrixx from the very early days. For those of you who don't know it, Manhattan, they have like a 20,000 pieces set called Manhattan. It's really crazy. Let me just see very briefly if we go to BlueBrixx here and filter for Manhattan. So in a nutshell, I think they also sell it as an entire set. Yes, that's then the 103-047. They did this at the end that you can buy it. The entire thing has 21,515 pieces, which is, it's just crazy. And it costs actually 777 euros. It's like a square meter of Manhattan. It's ridiculous. But the original idea was, and they still do it, as you can see, that you buy individual modules, each of them between 1,000 to 2,000 pieces typically. I think the number 10, Federal Reserve, is actually a lot bigger than the most of the others, with 2,200 pieces. And basically the idea is, which I think is amazing, but back in the day I didn't know about BlueBrixx, otherwise I would have built it definitely. Now I'm not so much interested in this anymore. I am, like many people, hoping very much that BlueBrixx is going to do this again, maybe with the different cities. There are a lot of rumors around Berlin. Personally, I mean, this entire format is just amazing. I mean, how cool would this be if LEGO would do such a thing with their Star Wars license? Like, hey, let's build, a Star Wars planet in that scale. Let's have, I don't know, let's have the Republic Senate in here, and the Jedi Temple and stuff, and Coruscant. But anyhow, BlueBrixx did it for Manhattan, and as you can see, and this is why I'm just because a lot of people keep asking me that, like, oh, the set is gone, when it's going to come back. Just relax. BlueBrixx has an entirely different strategy here than, for instance, Cobi or LEGO, by means, okay, I do a set and then I don't do it anymore after a year or two, and then maybe 5 years later I bring it back again in a slightly different shape or version. Or LEGO is sometimes doing this after 20 years, let's bring back the set. This is not the BlueBrixx strategy. They put out the set when it's sold out at a certain point in time, and this could be, depending on how much demand is, it could be a couple of months or it could be a couple of years, like in this case. But anyhow, Manhattan Unit 10 now back in stock, and it's actually quite a beautiful one. I mean, these things, I think, make also a ton of sense if you just buy one of those, right? If this is a place where you have lived before, you have a strong attachment to within Manhattan, I think these sets make sense on their own. That is the beauty of it. And if you like one, you can buy a second, and if you buy a second, you can buy a third. And if you have, and then maybe you may decide, okay, now I want to have the entire thing. Anyhow, what is also available, which I'm not sure, I think it has been available before, maybe it has not, and for whatever reason my browser is a bit stuck, but here we go. BlueBrixx has a series. It's more like an art series, right? You put it on the wall of the 4 seasons. It's every time a tree, so you can see it down here, you can see it here down below. I wanted to say, like autumn, winter, and spring. And now finally summer is in stock. I'm personally not sure if it ever has been in stock. At least since I have the SetDB, it never has been. So that's why SetDB is reporting it as newly available. But I'm actually not 1% sure. It may have been available in the past. Anyhow, 4 season summer now available in stock, 103,295, 809 pieces. Personally, I think I like the most the spring version and the autumn version, especially because there's a couple of amazing pieces in there. I mean, look at the colors of the autumn version. So the summer version is a bit more straightforward, has a lot of these bamboo leaves, which are not that uncommon, but it's well done design. I mean, and I know there are collectors who want to have all 4, and I know from folks that a lot of folks were waiting for the summer version. Anyhow, it's back in stock, and I think that is a good timing, isn't it? Before summer. And then we have available also a very old set from the old day, the Locomotive EMD E8 Gelb, actually it does say, which is German for yellow. Anyhow, the 102498 back in stock, 645 pieces for $33, 5.1 cents a piece. Yeah, not so much to add to it. It's an old set. I'm just talking briefly about these because just to make my point, and that these old goldies are coming back again. And then we have, however, a new announcement or a new availability. We're talking about the 105079, the psychotherapy practice. Is this actually called like this in English? I'm not sure. Maybe that is physiotherapy is German, but I think physiotherapy. Oh my god, my English is so awful. I do apologize. Anyhow, that's the kind of thing where, they bring your bones back into order. I guess that's how I actually don't know what the correct name is. Anyhow, this is a modular building from BlueBrixx. It's again from KW Designed. 2,526 pieces, and I think from the original, let's say in a pure sense, modular buildings, these should now be all of the ones from BlueBrixx, at least what I think. We can check this in a second. What is more important though is that BlueBrixx is asking for $115. That's 4.6 cents a piece. I mean, that's $100 less, more than it's basically half of what LEGO is asking for the new Jazz Club modular. So from the pricing point of view, a pretty aggressive pricing, typical BlueBrixx style. Obviously, the Kuon-Long pieces do not have the same quality as LEGO. There are no minifigures in it, but tiles on every floor, that's something that LEGO does not seem to be able to this day to get done. And yeah, I mean, yes, if you want to see the Doctor, I think that is the modular building of choice. They even have an attic, which is quite cool. And I'm not sure what is this. Maybe that's what. This, I guess it's one of these bicycles, right? An indoor cycling machine, something like that. Anyhow, modular BlueBrixx. I wanted to check. Is this now all of it? Let's go to modular, and why is this thing? Okay, yes, yeah, I'm filtering from BlueBrixx, but of course you can buy all of them at BlueBrixx. So let's do a quick view here, and yeah, I think that is it. That was all the modulars from LEGO, and I think all of them are now available. Let's see if that worked out for them, and if we are going to see more of them. And then we have the 8-stud version of the rail bus from BlueBrixx. I think that's a German thing. I do believe the 105232, 623 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for 30 euros, again including tax. And yeah, I mean, it's an 8-stud version of the rail bus. You can open the roof, I guess look inside. I cannot really say from these pictures how many how many seats you have inside. All the windows on the side are done with panels in snot technique. However, as far as I can tell, if you look below the windows, that is all like just tiles. So there's no structural stability, integrity in there. I guess it's not, you have to be careful with this one where you touch it, but the front and the back look quite robust. So I guess they should be fine here. And as far as I can tell, you can motorize this one quite easily. And yeah, it's a railway bus. And then let's move on, where we have now available of 2 extensions for the Governor's Island. We have the Pergola expansion, 463 pieces. We are talking about the 105,327, 30 euros, and that's 6.5 cents a piece. That's quite expensive, actually, most of the Governor's Island. I mean, when I say expensive, folks coming from the LEGO world are saying, well, that's not expensive. But, I mean, you don't get the same piece qualities. You cannot really, it's a bit oranges and apples. But nevertheless, I mean, BlueBrixx has, as always, a pretty good pricing. But these things here are, at least for the typical BlueBrixx range, a bit higher. They have a couple of larger pieces in there, cannons sometimes. I think this one here does not have cannons, but that's, I think, at least what BlueBrixx is saying, why they have higher prices here. Anyhow, next extension is the guard tower, and we're talking about the 105,326, 443 pieces. BlueBrixx is again asking for 30 euros. Like I said, cannons, for instance, or these big rock pieces that are more expensive. When I say expansions here, you can see the entire thing. So basically, that you have 2 big sets, like I think this one here was called the Tavern or the Governor's House, and then you have like a tiny mini fort or castle. And then you can, throw these all together with these expansions. And this is just an example. I mean, the general ideas, as you can see, all of these have Technic pins. So I guess there are multiple variants how you can put them together, which I think is an amazing concept. Also a great concept for kids. For me personally, these sets are mostly designs for kids. They have quite a simple design, right? Like I said, with rock pieces and everything. They have a lot of cannons in there, but let's face it, there are a lot of pirate fans out there. I think the ship, the brick, is not available to this day, but I think, of course, that is this is going to be the masterpiece or the centerpiece of this entire thing, right? At least it's what I think. Ships get people all the time excited. It's a pretty big pirate ship. I think that is, even with 5 cannons on every side, that is even bigger than the big pirate ships that LEGO used to do in the old days. I think a lot of folks are going to looking forward to this ship becoming available as well. Then let's move on to the cold milling machine, the 105,330, 556 pieces, 25 euros. And that is, of course, another vehicle out of the long range of also construction vehicles that BlueBrixx is doing. But they are also doing municipal garbage trucks and stuff. You can see this here down below. This is a very long series of these vehicles, and I think even if I'm personally not like a modern city builder, I mean, I have a couple of modular buildings, but the kind of, let's say, brick built city is not really my cup of tea. I'm more in the, let's say, high fantasy castle area, but I do believe this is always great news for folks building these cities, that you get just more variety in there, not just, cars and trucks, which typically come from LEGO, but you have all of these, let's say, additional, more realistic construction vehicles, for instance, to get some life into your city. Obviously, these are construction vehicles that we typically have over here in Europe. However, I think construction vehicles are quite international. I think they look all the same because there are not so many companies making them. This is like an 8-stud format, I would argue. And yeah, here we go. And then let's move on to a much bigger thing, the American pump truck of fire vehicle, the 105,393, 2,050 pieces, $85. Isn't that amazing? American pump truck built by I think Adrian is an Australian or from New Zealand. I'm not 100% sure. Somewhere down under. And it's from a German company. So if that is not, I think that's basically that's around the globe as much as you can get, which is amazing. But anyhow, this thing has 2,000 pieces, and BlueBrixx is only asking for $85. That is great news, and I think very well done. Great design. Haven't seen one of those in a while, but I do believe this is quite authentic. And yeah, I think a well done job. I really like the vehicle. It is, of course, a gigantic behemoth. BlueBrixx has not given us any size information, or maybe let's go to the BlueBrixx site directly. No, unfortunately not. Okay, but it is scaled 1 to 20. I should actually add this to SetDB, and they have already done a YouTube video if you want to take a closer look. Let's move on, and let's go maybe a bit quicker. I talked about these new series of tanks that they have announced very recently, and we are talking about the Battle Tank Panther. I talked about it mid-November. It's already available. That's pretty fast. Sometimes happens with BlueBrixx Pro that they go a lot faster between announcement and availability. We're talking about the 105540. Talked about this one before. Now available, $60. That's 4.5 cents a piece. That's not much for a BlueBrixx Pro set. My guess is it's built by Bao, scale 1 to 30, tank €60. And then we have also, I mean, the KF base way KF51 is like a prototype to my knowledge. And here, however, we have a regular version, or I think that's like an urban fighting version. I forgot what PSO stand for. However, I talked about it also in November. So back in the day, I did still know what PSO means. Peace Special Operation. I don't know. Something with peace, I think. Anyhow, it's like a special equipped Leopard 2 main battle tank for close combat and fighting inside cities, etc., etc. We're talking about the 105434, 1222 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for €54, 4.5 cents now in stock. And then let's move on. What I personally like a lot more, the mini architecture series. Here we have these collection sets where you get in every collection 6 architecture pieces, which is quite a lot. I think all of them roughly between like 70 pieces around, like 50 to 90, around 70, something like that. And here they have 3 of these collections, so 18 sets overall, which I think is amazing. It's a bit late, right? If they would have launched this beginning of December or maybe in November, this would have been great during also the Christmas times, during the holidays, but it's now available. And for this one here, they are asking for €28 for Brandenburger Tor in Berlin, Statue of Liberty, Willis Tower, Tower Bridge, Marina Bay, Sands Hotel, and the Pyramids of Gizeh. And then they have the second one, the 105416. Again, $28. Here we have the Sydney Opera House, Machu Picchu, the what was it called again in English? German is Markusplatz, is St. Mark's Square, of course. Space Needle, Petronas Towers, and Castle Neuschwanstein from Bavaria. It's a wild mix of English and German, if you ask me. And then they have the collection number 3, and here we have the Asakusa Pagodas German Temple Building, whatever. Empire State Building, the Louvre, Burj Khalifa, the Main Tower. It's not Main Tower, by the way. It's Main Tower from the River Main in Germany. That's in Frankfurt. And, of course, a piece of Chinese wall. Yeah, I think these are quite nice sets. Let's move on to Cobi, and here we have now availability, at least over here in Europe. I don't know what the situation is overseas, of the M3A1 Steward, the 3048 scale 1 to 35 tank. That's a light armored tank from actually built by the US, and I think it's mostly known because it was the first US tank that was used by the British forces during the Second World War, like even before the US entered the war. Formerly, it was also delivered, a lot of them, I think more than 1,000, were delivered to the Soviet Union army back in the day to fight Hitler's Germany. And I think it's also the first American battle tank that was actually put into battle by US troops, I think against Japanese back in the day. Anyhow, BlueBrixx, not my apologies, Cobi, of course, is putting this under this new brand or the Company of Heroes thingy. In general, of course, it's a traditional Cobi 1 to 35 model. I mean, there is an amazing couple of sets in the Company of Heroes 3 branded series. But in general, they are not in any way, shape, or form, as far as I can tell, directly related to the game. It's just an M3A1 Stuart, and this is good news, I think, for a lot of fans of American tanks from Cobi. And then we have Sonderkraftfahrzeug 9 FAMO. So yeah, that's a typical German, partially, whatever. Cobi has done a lot of these in the past, of these Sonderkraftfahrzeug trucks. Basically, this is the one with the crane, I guess, for repair crews in the field. My guess that it has on the hook here, as you can see, it has the tank engine. This is now available. It's not Company of Heroes branded. It's in the standard World War II historical collection by Cobi, 598 pieces. Over here in Europe, it's now available for roughly 37 euros. That is 7.4 cents a piece. These Cobi vehicles are not cheap. Anyhow, it is scale 1/35 as well. Let's move on to LEGO, and here we have two availabilities. Went live over the holidays, December 25th, first day of Christmas. We are talking about the AT111. I talked about this one before. Yes, I did, in November. And it has 1,653 pieces and already not available in the US anymore. What? LEGO, what are you doing? Coming soon. Oh, it's not even available in the US yet. Over here in Germany, it became available 25th of December. That's very unfortunate. Anyhow, we will continue to talk about it. So I will not talk about it again. My apologies. When I look through these sets, I just look into, let's say, first availability. I did not know that LEGO had a different release schedule between Europe and the US here. They don't do this very often, just from time to time, and over here they do. Anyhow, Chinese New Year series, we're talking about the 81111. It's now available. Jace BrickBlock has already done a review. No YouTuber yet, at least not internationally. In German speaking, one of our Austrian YouTubers already was provided by one, provided with one by LEGO. That's what I wanted to say. Not internationally though. And then we have the second one, I guess also will become available 10th of January. We are talking about the New Year display set, the 10800110. And yeah, my apologies. I should not have talked about them because I did not know that we have almost like two-week difference here, right, between Europe and the US. I don't know how it is in other countries. Anyhow, let's move on. We have also an announcement by BlueBrixx that they will get in stock a bundle with 12 different plans for MOYU. The 87069 looks quite beautiful, I must say. It has only 679 pieces, but and if you look at these baskets, or these pots where these plants are in, they look like pretty big pieces. But I must say it's a very well done collection of different flowers. I mean, all of them have different numbers, so my guess is you can buy them individually, but BlueBrixx intends to sell them in a pack. Great stuff. And I think also what a lot of people get curious about is from Pantasy, the bakery. Pantasy is now doing a modular building. The 55001, I do not know how many pieces, because usually that's very hard to figure out from Pantasy. Usually they don't give you the piece count, which is a bit strange. But anyhow, Pantasy, I mean, usually they are more known for these sets. If you look here down below, right, the iGame desktop case, the Sanseiya, Sagittarius, these kind of, let's say, more exotic, more niche sets, right? They don't do usually like standard sets, if you will, right? And now they do. I mean, this is like a traditional modular. It's in traditional in every way, right? I mean, I think it's well done, very well designed. It's just not what we're used to from Pantasy, but I think that's great. I mean, let's move on. The only thing that I personally don't like, but that's me personally, and I guess maybe also over here in Europe we have slightly different taste here when it comes to that. Actually, these minifigures, you cannot even sell them in Europe as far as I can tell, because LEGO has some design rights on these minifigures from my personal point of view, and I'm not a lawyer, that's just me. They are too close to the LEGO minifigures. So that's a bit unfortunate. I would love if Pantasy would, go the extra mile here and bring out their own minifigures. Right, you can basically use Lego brick shapes nowadays. Of course you can, but you can't use the minifigures. That's my personal point of view, and I think that's also the legal position over here in Europe, because Lego has some 3D design rights on these. But anyhow, you have also a couple of minifigures included as well. My guess is that these are BlueBrixx minifigures, but of course I haven't built the set. I can't be sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to build it. Maybe one day. Do like the design. Pretty tall. Modular, I must say. This thing, I guess, goes in the ballpark of 3,000 pieces. But let's see. By the way, I will not talk about this week, but next week. But Kada has also announced a pretty nice modular. So that was sets of the week. Let's move on to MOCs of the week. And here, Pantasy. By the way, I'm not sure if that is how she wants to have that name pronounced. I talked about one of her MOCs in the past. I think it was like Juliet's Balcony. From my personal point of view, I guess the most beautiful modular design I've ever seen in my life. And now she has extension to Santa's Workshop, the 40565, the recent Christmas. I guess it was a gift with purchase, if I recall correctly, which was very well done by Lego. But of course, it was one of these small Christmas displays. And now she is proposing here an extension to overall 691 pieces. I think you need 373 additional pieces here to the Santa's Workshop set, basically to complete the building, and which I think is great. I really like the original gift with purchase set by Lego. I think it was very well done. Great minifigure selection. I love Lego Santa Claus. But I think what Pantasy is proposing here, and she's asking for 490 euros, at least over here, for this manual, for these instructions. And yeah, very well done, I must say. Let's move on to the next one. This is also a great one by Manu81, the Temple of Treasures. Come on, what? Sometimes my browser gets stuck a little bit. I don't know why. Anyhow, is proposing a, let's say, an homage, if you will, a new interpretation, you could also call it, of one of let's say, the traditional Lego Adventure series, which Lego has not covered very well in recent years. And here is the proposal for a new, more modern interpretation of the theme. I must say, very well done. 1,534 pieces are needed, and Manu81 is asking for 8 euros for this one. Yeah, temple inspired by the Adventure series. It has some Technic functions in there. Very well done here with this GIF animation. And here you go. I really like the design. I mean, yeah, it looks beautiful. Not 100% sure if I love, let's say, the simple shape of the traditional slopes. Not really the biggest fan of these big slope bricks, but with that exception, I think very well done. Looks great. And then, speaking of looks great, also this one here, the BR132, again, a Baureihe BR, so that's a German locomotive. I guess I've actually not done my research what exactly the 132 is. Anyhow, we have here a version that can also be motorized by Langemat. 1,458 pieces is asking for $25. That's actually a lot if you compare that to the piece count. So I'm not sure if I can recommend this because it is a bit high. In general, my opinion is, if you're doing these designs, you can ask for whatever you want because, but personally for me, I would say that is a bit too much. But here you go. Nice locomotive. Of course, it has, I think, from the concept point of view, a lot of stickers included. Would have preferred to have real windows. Not a big sticker fan. But here you go, BR132, and the brick design, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk about it, is very well done, I must say. I mean, this is the shape is correct. It just looks amazing. Very well done. And then let's move on to something else that I dig out, and that is another display stand for Starfighter. I mean, Star Wars community has done this for quite a while. I mean, I guess the most well-known is the one very famous MOC of a display stand for the UCS Millennium Falcon. This, of course, is a much smaller one, and the idea is actually to have it flexible by means you can put different fighters in here. This is just an example using Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. Of course, you can use any of the many Starfighters, Jedi Starfighters that LEGO has done over the years. But I guess even some other vehicles like the new, let's say, troop transport that they did for Star Wars Endor. I forgot the name of the set. Should fit in here as well. So I think you are quite flexible. Anyone, this one here is a mark from the Armorer. Great nickname, by the way. 587 pieces, €4, and yeah, it's great to having these stands. I think that gives so much flavor. And if you look at this could just also give you an idea, right? You could basically use this thing, and just build 5 of them, and maybe also with slight variations, etc., right? And basically, instead of just putting these fighters on a shelf, you could actually, brick your shelf and do great stuff with it. And I think that is always preferable, right? That should be the LEGO way of doing things, by means not just putting models on the shelf, but actually put some life into them. And I think this is exactly what is here proposed. And this is also why I love this MOC so much. I love the idea. I mean, it's very well done. The design is great. But I also like the idea of, hey, guys, when you buy these sets, these expensive sets, just don't put them only on the shelf. Do something with it. Do something cool. Do some dioramas. I really like, for instance, what all the minifigure painters, the modelers of around, like, for instance, in the Warhammer and the minifigure community are doing, right? They're building these huge displays to put the minifigures in. And I think that is exactly what we should do as well with our LEGO pieces. Anyhow, let's move on to an amazing, I think, 8-stud car, or is it only 6 studs? No, it's only 6, isn't it? It's tiny. The T1 Camper Holiday by BlueBrixx, only 397 pieces. And of course, I mean, the graphics are done very well as well. So obviously he knows, or she, I don't know if it's he or she, how to sell a model. But I think it's also very well done, right? I mean, doesn't this thing look amazing? I mean, this looks like holiday. This is exactly what I wanted to have in my city. And quite frankly, this is what I personally also think how LEGO should do these things nowadays. I mean, this is like a modern interpretation of cars, of a city vehicle, LEGO city vehicle, if you will, right? It's minifigure scale. It looks amazing. It has a lot of detail. Look in the inside. I mean, I just can't believe that this can be done with 397 pieces, right? With all the tiles on the floor and everything. This is exactly how you want to have your cars. If I would ever do a brick city, this is the kind of detail that I want to have in there. And anyhow, €4 roughly by BlueBrixx for this MOC. And here we go. That was MOCs of the week. So let's move on to LEGO Ideas. Here we had 3 designs that got to 10,000 supporters. First, we have Fantasy takes the bus on the fly. Obviously, that is from the Italian comedy movie Fantasy. I guess Fantasy. I don't know how Italians pronounce that. I'm pretty sure I got it entirely wrong. This is from 1975, so this thing is older than me. I'm built 1979. But anyhow, amazing set, I think, for many reasons. Of course, there's a license behind it, there's a movie behind it, a classic. That's all great, and I also do like the design to a certain degree from the front. However, what really got me excited about this one, first, of course, there's an underground. I really like the idea of underground. I think I've talked about this in the past. We had great LEGO Ideas entries around, like, hey, let's do an underground that fits a modular shape, so where you can, that you can put below a modular. I really like the idea because, let's face it, 99% of all brick-built cities, they start at ground floor, and nobody has nobody has an underground, basements, etc. Why not? I think this is amazing, and I that's what I really like about this design. But what I like even more is this thing here. I mean, this goes beyond ridiculous. This is crazy. If you look at the inside, yes, it is an enormous building. I guess it has 3,000 pieces because that's the maximum that you can go with LEGO Ideas. And And it's like 4 studs deep, which is nothing, but there's so much detail in there. I mean, this is great as well, right? I mean, usually I complain a lot when Lego is doing sets like these. They do this a lot with Harry Potter, for instance, right? That you have these shallow buildings with only 4, 5, 6 studs. But if you put so much life in there, like it's done here, then I do like the idea. So I could skip the entire front if they just if somebody would do a set just like this, just telling 1,000,000 stories out of a city, I would, love it. Anyhow, let's move on to Willow. I think a lot of people think this is one of the best fantasy movies any done. Battle of Tir Asleen. I've actually never seen it, but I do like the design. A cool castle design, cool monster. Amazing minifigure designs. Obviously, minifigure is a special thing, but yeah, I think it's very well done. Do like the design, do like the minifigures. This riding death thingy is very, very cool. Like the Hydra-like monster. It even has a sword stuck in its back, which is cool. Looks a bit like a lot of Warhammer designs, like with ogres and stuff. Anyhow, very well done by Monty Matte. Pretty cool. And then we have the Wizard's Retreat, which is the third one for this week by Farm. Again, main 10,000 supporters. And I don't know. When I looked at it, I had to think a lot about, like, do I like the colors? I mean, this is like a lime. No, it's not a lime. That's like a very light azure tone. Not 100% sure how this color is called. Then the turquoise, of course, dark brown. It's a very unique color scheme. But I must say, the more I looked at it and the more I thought about it, the more I started to like it. I think it's all in all, the entire design is very well done. Like I said, the color scheme is special, but this is definitely, especially for all the, let's say, the fantasy, witchcraft, whatever, wizardry fans, this is definitely, going to wake up some folks. This is definitely a completely different color design, but I do like it. It's very well done. Personally, for me, there's a bit too many tiles on the roof. The roof looks a bit too clean to me, but next to that, I really do like the design, and it's extremely modular. Do I think that Lego will ever do this as an idea set? I don't think so, but very well done. What I also really do like is here, if you look at the wall design, it's done with these 1x1 round tiles. I seen once, I think, on a venue, there was once a guy I saw who built a castle basically just out of these 1x1 round tiles with, I don't know how many thousands were in there, 10,000, 20,000, I have no idea. But it is a very nice building technique for a building. And I do even more like, I think, the combination that was done here with masonry bricks. I guess there's a lot of snot in there to put some tiles on this, and then a lot of 1x1 tiles, both the regular ones as well as the round ones. Great wall design. I think that is worth taking a look at and maybe copy in one of your own designs. And yeah, here we go. Strange color design, but very well designed overall. All right, that was that for this week. I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch us on YouTube, please leave a like or a comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, please leave a review, comment, or like on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thanks for listening. See you next week.